In this video, we're going to talk about the present perfect indicative, or in Spanish, that's called el presente perfecto de indicativo. So this is to describe events that have occurred before the present moment. Perfect really means before something. So present perfect means before the present. In English, the present perfect is formed with the present indicative of to have. And then the past participle, which we just talked about. Oops. Oh, this got all messed up. Let's see if I can format that better. There we go. The past participle, which you'll notice in English, the past participle usually ends in ed. Not always, but a lot of times. So, for example, in English, we have I have talked or we have played. Notice that those things have happened before the present moment. Spanish is pretty similar. There's one big difference, and that is you're going to use the present tense of haber, and we'll find out what those conjugations are, and then the past participle. And remember that the past participle usually ends in adio for AR verbs, and for ER and IR verbs, it's going to end in IDO. Oops, IDO. So that gives us a little formula that I'll write right here, which would be present indicative of haber plus the past participle. And that's what we're going to use to make the present perfect indicative. And now it's going to be helpful to know how to form haber. This is specifically when it's used as what we call an auxiliary verb or helper verb. So notice it's not by itself. It has to be with the past participle. You can't use it all by itself. So the yo form is a, tú, has, él, ella, and usted, ha, nosotros, hemos, and ellos, ellas, and ustedes, han. And yes, I know you're tempted to say he, has, ha, and han. That's okay if that helps you remember them, but please, when you say it out loud, don't embarrass yourself. It's pronounced e, as, a, hemos, han. Remember, H's are silent in Spanish. All right, just like in English, the past participle will not change no matter the gender or number of the subject. So remember, when it's being used as an adjective and it's with estar, then yes, it changes. But here, it's being used as a verb. We don't change the endings on verb based on gender and number. So for example, when next to the form of haber, hablar will always, always, always be, hablado. And that's really important, always. Whenever it's next to haber, it'll always be that way. Okay, for comer, guess what? It's going to be comido. Again, always when next to haber. And the past participle of vivir will be vivido. Always when it's next to a form of haber. A couple other things to worry about. There is a no man's land. Never, never, never put anything between your form of haber and the past participle. Never. So, for example, I have eaten it. Lo he comido. Perfect. That is a perfect sentence. However, a lo comido, that's ugly, terrible. Don't do it. Please. Also, remember those pronouns are going to go before the conjugated verb. So remember, the conjugated verb here is haber. So that's why I went before haber. Do not split up haber and your hado ido. Think of them as best friends. It's just terribly mean to split them up. Okay, so we have some practice. We're going to do a couple together. I have spoken with your dad. So first we need to figure out how to say I have spoken. Well, if you look back in your notes, we're going to use haber and then the ado or ido. The yo form of haber is a. And you don't have to write yo, but you can. And to speak is hablar. And we want to change that to hablado. I have spoken. And then with your dad is con tu papa. And I want to point out, it does not matter if I'm a girl or if I'm a guy. It's going to be yo he hablado. Okay, let's do another one together. Have you eaten today? So first, since it's a question mark, don't forget your upside down question mark. Then we want our form of haber, then our ado ido. So the form of haber for tu is has. To eat is comer. And we want to change it to the past participle, so we drop the er and add ido. And if you want, you can add to here. You really don't need to. And then all you got to write is hoy for today. Again, it doesn't matter if the person you're talking to is a girl or a boy. It's has comido. Okay, now what I'd like you to do is to pause the video and try numbers 3 and 4 on your own and see how you do. And watch out with number 4. There's something tricky in there. Okay, let's see how you did on 3. So we're going to put he. Okay, has invited. So again, got to have our form of haber. If you look earlier, for he, we're going to use a. We're given the verb invitar. That's to invite. So we drop the ar, add ado, and then his girlfriend. And the word for girlfriend is novia. And I know a couple of you are going to wonder, why do we put the a here? Little side note, whenever the person you're talking about who's not the subject, whenever the other thing mentioned is a person, you got to add that a. It's a little rule. Don't worry too much about it. Okay, number 4, I told you it was tricky. There's something weird in here. So you can start with nosotros. You really don't have to. Oops. But if you do write it, please write it correctly. Okay, if we look, our form of haber we want is hemos. And then to open is abrir. Here's where it's tricky. Remember, abrir is irregular. So we want to put abierto. Notice, we, that's plural, but abierto ends in O because it's next to haber. So haber only will be next to words that end in ado or ido, unless it's irregular, but it's got to end in O. And then the word for window is la ventana. All right, try the last 2. So again, pause the video, try the last 2, and then play the video again and see how you did. Okay, let's see how we did on these. They have seen ghosts. So I'm not going to write ellos because I'm lazy. So have seen. If we look, the form of haber we want for they is han. To see is ver. Watch out, this one's irregular too. So it's going to be visto. Again, whenever these are next to haber, they have to end in O. So we're going to keep it as visto. And then ghosts are just fantasmas. And that's the whole sentence. And the last one, yay! So we're going to start. Dr. Garcia, have you gone to Colombia? So since it's a question, we need our upside down question mark. And please notice, we're talking to a doctor. We're going to be polite. So we're not going to use tu, we're going to use usted. And the usted form of haber is a. To go is ir. It's not on our irregular list, so we got to follow the rules. To make the past participle, you drop the ir and add ido. I know that looks weird, but that's correct. Ha ido, and then to Colombia. A Colombia. And yes, in Spanish, it's Colombia. All right, that's the end of the notes. If you have any questions, just let me know.